as Speaker of the House of Representatives, Right Honorable Abdul Hakim Femi Badabemila, who is presently the Chief of Staff to the President, Federal Republic of Nigeria, under whose mentorship I serve as chairman of one of the Grade A committees, despite my first-time experience as legislature. Another significant point worth mentioning in this paper is the inspiring declaration and support for a new Africa that provides opportunity for economic growth, continental security, youth development, and inter-regional cooperation within the continent to foster its unity, stability, and conduciveness, especially for the young African who are not only future African leaders, but also the custodian of African hope and aspiration. The declaration was made on 28 July 2023 at the extraordinary session of the ECOWAS Head of State and Government by one of the African famous serving president, His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, who doubles as the newly elected chairperson of Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS. The declaration by the Nigerian president justifies the need for this conference and assures the conference of immeasurable support of the Nigerian president of its resolution that requires any commitment aimed at ensuring the Africa we want. It is considered most imperative in its nature to commend the motivational declaration of Nigeria's president as a tool that seeks to translate the outcome of the conference into reality before it is concluded. The title of my presentation today is Citizens and Security for All-Inclusive Capacity Building and Development. There is no better time to discuss this topic than now. Also, there is no better place for this discussion than the African Union headquarters here in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, which provides an umbrella to African nations and leaders to discuss emerging issues and development that to promote unity, stability, and consciousness of whatever will move the continent forward. It is in this context that a need has arisen to remind the participants of this conference to concentrate on meaningful engagement and shun undesirable conduct characterized with violence, ethnicity, nepotism, senseless tribal laws, public corruption, and any behavior in public capacity that is injurious to Africa's democratic governance. In order to sustain this initiative consistent with several continental declarations in various public fora, the Africans must remain committed in promoting education as the best catalyst for human development. This task reinforces the need for inclusive participation of Africans, particularly the youth and women, in democratic governance and all aspects of human endeavor. In conclusion, it is imperative to once again commend my boss, Right Honorable Abdul Hakim Femi Badabemila, CFR, and our President, His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, for inspiring capacity development services all their political life to mentor political class to assume capacity of transforming Africa into what outcome of this conference will reveal. I thank the organizers of this conference for the special honor in the invitation and ensuring my attendance. I congratulate all the participants. I pray for the Africa we want beyond the scope of this conference. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you, Honorable Dr. Shaban Sharadao, for your wonderful speech. Thank you very much. As he said, we need to have strong continental organizations to arrest conflicts, instabilities in Africa. We always say that the African Union is toothless. It's not well representing the people of the continent in international arena. I recently happened to watch a video of President Yoweri Museveni of Uganda, who was talking about his mission to deal with the Libyan conflict. And the African Union assigned 6 presidents to negotiate the government and the warring factions. And unfortunately, Yoweri Museveni didn't make it to the to the meeting, and he assigned 2 of his ministers, and they all met in Mauritania, Nouakchott. And NATO told them to go back to their respective countries. Imagine, these are presidents of African nations, and they represent the African Union, and they were heading to negotiate the government and the warring factions, but they were told to go back to their respective countries. It's none of your business. Go back to your respective countries. Why did NATO say that? Because they know that they finance the African Union. 70-80% of budget for the African Union comes from outside. So unless we realize the independence, the financial independence of our continental organization, we won't be able to deal with our own matters. African Union have the resources to arrest any conflict in the continent, to negotiate every rebel or warring faction in the continent. Other regional organizations are also able to do that, but they are not financially independent. That's why they are failing us. So we need to build strong continental organizations, and we should make sure that we divest them from these economic predicaments. Thank you very much. Present to the next speaker, Meron Getachew, youth representative of JT's Nation Builders. Is she here? Yes. Mary, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Your Excellencies, diplomatic community, young Africans, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Meron Getachew, and I'm honored to be speaking to you about a topic that's close to my heart: African solutions for African problems. I'm certain that all of us here are aiming for the same goal, and I'm sure everyone here is aware of one of the main problems corrupting our growth and change. Too many of Africa's brightest innovators are leaving the continent for better opportunities outside Africa. So we can all say that brain drain is what's keeping Africa from breathing. We are losing a core portion of our valuable individuals for countries that corrupt us into thinking that we cannot grow by ourselves. So we need to change the way we think and we speak about Africa. We need to start working on our problems together and leverage our strengths and our differences to create something powerful. We need to be the ones who take the initiative, who create the opportunities, and also who build the networks that will help us succeed. I want to work and grow in my continent. I want to learn about my culture without being influenced. I want to access the opportunities that are locked in Africa. And I believe that this is possible. I believe that the solution starts with each one of us. And we need to be the one who change to see in the world. And we need to give our continent native solution to its problems so we can get Africa we want. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Meron Getachew, youth representative of JTH Nation Builder. She's a brilliant young lady here. We need our young generation to be as active as they are supposed to be in the issue of Africa and their respective nation. Thank you very much once again. Well, now we've been discussing a lot, so we need to have a break, yes? So we're heading to the tea break. Am I right? Yeah. Shall we proceed with? Okay. Okay, well, so let's have some discussion until we get the confirmation that the tea is ready. So as I tried to touch on earlier, let me give the floor to Mr. Azad.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for such a lovely speech and close to our hearts, exactly to the point. I believe, sorry if I get your name wrong, Excellency Haji Sadiq. You made a very good point about food security, and over the years, since my early days till recently, we always believe that there is not enough food in Africa, famine, etc. We know what happened, I think that's what in the 80s, early 80s, in this place itself. Now, it's very, very interesting, and for me it's a pleasure to hear direct from the likes of yourself, or six, well above. I think with the change, the geopolitical change that's happening, with the current crisis that's going on, there's a paradigm shift. And with that, there is that opportunity. I think my point earlier was like controversies, and if it can be done on a smaller scale, it can be replicated. That's how research is done in medicine, in the car industry, technology, etc. The food should be our priority. Food, and you mentioned about the healthcare and the education as well. And these three, no matter what, how rich your country is, how big the house is, whether you live in a concrete house or a tin house, or a school, it doesn't matter. People should have food. And we always, when I hear about Europe, it's India, there's plenty of food. Even in COVID, we have plenty of food. Even in the war, the current wars happening in Ukraine, there's plenty of food. And when you look about in the West, for example, how they dominate the market, and well, the thing about the market, small market driven, no, we create the market. We make it big or small so that they can compete, take your bananas, take your vegetables to their advantage. And unfortunately, that's the way it is. And even if you look at internally, the country, the rich who try to get the best food goes to the supermarket. The best food goes to Europe because they have the dollar. And I believe in terms of the dialogue's been, you're talking openly now, also, last year also, and you hear the leaders, African leaders, are very assertive. And what's good about it is the attitude that don't dictate to us. And we hear it again today. Don't dictate to us how you want things to be for yourself. And that's this generation, the working generation is important. You mentioned about distribution and helping the small and medium enterprises, and that's very important because I believe they are the ones going to produce more and contribute more towards the GDP of the country. And that's what happened in Mauritius, I suppose, necessary everywhere else because you don't have big corporations to run everything else. So for me, it's very, very interesting and it's a pleasure and it gives us hope really that it's no longer being talked about in the room. It's being talked about with an attitude actually there's a change will happen. and we want to make that change. Primarily, His Excellency Shaban about to talk about security of a country and how do you do that, you know? And the thin line about the oppression about the oppression that takes place in different countries, no matter what, religious, cultural, military or not, or anti-democracy. There must be space for everyone. There must be space for people to actually can demonstrate. And democratically elected leaders should, and that's a fair system. There's, as far as I know, you can have hierarchy, etc., but that should not stop the country from developing. And we should support people, no matter the color, the race, the religion, etc. And if there's a tribe that needs something, look what they need. Look at what are the requirements are. How you can support them. And of course, there's a line to be drawn. And that's our politician, our expert in these countries. But that's it keeps food for thought. And with the younger generations here, access to education in their country or elsewhere, I think that gives us a more hope to look at the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Zatana, for your wonderful insights. You have your own floor after the break, and you will give us the whole speech
Thank you.
later. So, can you react on the issue that he has raised, Honorable?
Okay. Thank you very much, my fellow brother. And I think his discussion is an elaboration of what we have discussed, basically. I don't think you have asked direct question. But I think I'm also of the opinion that at youth representatives in Africa, we need to, at the end of this session, come out with a crack team, opine that we approach probably the African Development Bank and suggest to them that as youth representatives, we also need to make our own contribution to the continent food security. We will allow the president, we allow other people to do their constitutional responsibility. But as citizens of Africa, as emerging entrepreneurs, we also need to come up with a suggestion. And we need to make our own singular contribution in attaining food security in Africa. Thank you very much.
Thank you, that's wonderful. Yes.
So good morning, everyone. So I introduce myself. So I'm Tassim Didu from Mauritius, founder and CEO of Overseas Medical Care Assistance Limited, and we are in medical field. So the question for me is: we talk about security, we talk about food, we talk about how to help Africa. But what we can see is that we have a big trouble in healthcare in African region. And we have a solution to it, which we'll present in the later on, and how we can find solution for the healthcare. But according to the Honorable expert, we met last time in Nigeria, Honorable Haji. So we want something that how can we help the people who don't have access to healthcare. So any idea from your side, how can we work together to bring like the healthcare sector together so that we can save much more life together? So that's a simple question so that we can really go forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. I think we can expand the suggestion to how, as youth representatives, we can suggest a community-based approach towards solving food and nutrition problems in Africa. Because most of the health issues we are facing in Africa today is associated with the type of food we eat, how we expose ourselves to the to the weather and climate condition. So government using its own structure to some extent have tried severally, but it did not attain the desired result. As youth representatives in Africa, we can also make our contribution in that aspect by suggesting that we need to have a community-based approach, because it is human beings that are in the villages that know their problem. What we usually see is that some people sit in cities, sit in offices, and suggest to people in rural areas how they can run their life. It is totally unacceptable. I think we can suggest to our leaders that we need to hear from the people in the communities. They have intelligent people that can suggest. Then we can put it as a policy and recommend to our leaders in Africa that, look, as youth representatives, this is our suggestion. It might work, it might not work, but let's demonstrate to it that it might work. So I think it's a suggestion, but always waiting for people to suggest to you how you live your life, the type of food you eat, the environment you stay. I think at this age, we should resist and suggest that, as the topic says, that this is the Africa we want, and this is also the life that we want to live. Am I making point? Yes. So thank you very much. I think in addition to the conference today, we also need to have a crack team that can bring suggestions on paper as a resolution of this conference today. Then we suggest to our government and to the institution that, as youth representatives, this is what we believe will work for us and will work for our continent. Thank you very much.
Fair enough. Thank you very much. And Honorable Dr. Shaban, do you have anything to add on this?
No, I think I will just comment on what Dr. said about security. You see, there is a relationship between security, education, and food security. They are going hand in hand, virtually. So you see, in our own end, when I was a member, House of Representatives, and chairing or chaired Committee on National Security and Intelligence, we sat down and decided on ourselves that security is everyone's business. If Nigeria is safe, Niger is not safe, there is problem. Most of the countries in Africa, we are practicing 3 tiers of government. That is executive, legislature, and judiciary. So our presidents, they used to meet in this prestigious office, the head of state, annually, sometimes 3 times a year, to discuss. But when you talk about, even if they go back, all the policies, if it is not backed by the laws, it cannot work, even security. So we decided all the various chairmen of security-related committees of African countries, we should come together, to work together, to create a laws, similar laws that we can assist our head of state. Number 2, we're talking about education. As far back as 2018, UNESCO estimated out of school children in Africa, millions, like in Nigeria, about 18 million out of school children. From 2018 to date, if they were 15 years, now they are 21 years. Imagine to have a people illiterate without any education, formal and non-formal education, at 20 million in a country is a disaster. That is why we decided in the 9th National Assembly, which expired just 2 months ago, to create a law to establish the National Commission for Al-Majir and Out of School Children to take care of those children who they cannot go to school. where we finally read the third reading of that act and sent it just 3 days to the former president exit from the presidential pillar on 26th of May 2023. Because of the importance of that commission, he assented it on that on a day later, that's 27 and 28. He said he is going to appoint one of the outgoing members of that committee or of that National Assembly where I was appointed. So the task before me now is to take care of about 20 million of Nigerian children. So that's what I want you to replicate in your various countries. If you don't have a commission to take care of out-of-school children, you should advise your legislature to establish the act or the bill to come out with the commission to take care of those who they cannot go to school, because our former leaders, Awolo, said if you didn't educate the children of your neighbor, at the end of the day, he will not allow your children who went to school to enjoy his education. So that's the problem. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. That was wonderful, really wonderful. So the floor is yours. I can take a few questions from you. Feel free to speak your mind. Yes, right there.
Thank you once again. This is really a great opportunity to hear such a great ideas from honorable guests. So my first question is going to His Excellency, Haji Sadiq, if I'm right.
Yes.
Okay. So we are here, coming from the same company. We work in agriculture. So this is the right question for you that we have. We do on banana export business. So I personally am an external relations manager for that company. So I mostly spend my time in different opportunities, like to see different investors. So most investors here in the investment commissions are really, they don't match my skin color. I don't have any problem with any skin colors, but you see in that buildings, lots of Chinese, lots of Americans, and we work for Italian company. So as an African, as a proud African, as you say first, we have all the resources. The water, the land. We work in the southern part of Ethiopia, where the big investments there in 10,000 square meters. So we send a really premium grade banana to different Europa. So my question is, where is the trick? We want to hear where are Africans, the investors, you guys are in the front lines. You have the skills, you may have the resources. So if we African each other working in the same thing together, we might have more resources from you, from the techniques, all the resources that you have it in that area. We can hear more of the agroeconomic technologies that you have. Maybe we can share all the experiences. And then here, this is a good opportunity. We have bunch of students, fresh graduates. These are vibrant, new, fresh, power that they have it. So if you have such techniques that you can share with us, this will be really appreciated. So my other question for His Excellency Shadan, am I right? I'm very sorry for the names. So you're saying more about citizens and security. I think more my friends will share Ethiopia is really in need of security right now because we have a lot of political issues. People here are not really interested in politics. We may always say, sorry for my word, we always say politics is a dirty game that we're told from the youngsters. So how can we make the security and the citizens for the youngsters who would be willing to involve the politics part? Because if we're fearing involving in the politics, who else is going to do it? We have to be part of it. I was really honored to see Her Highness here as a woman involving in politics. This is really encouraging for us. So tell us how we can secure the citizens' security, the peace Ethiopia, and then we're really allowed to get into the businesses and the politics and the economics and in every aspect. Thank you.
Thank you for the amazing questions. So you can one by one address them.
Thank you. Will you say what is the name?
Israel,
This one from
Ethiopia.
Ethiopia. Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. My initial presentation centered on a larger percentage of farmers in Africa are smallholder farmers. I don't know where you're producing bananas on your farm. I don't know how many hectares you are cultivating, but I would suggest probably a hectare or even less than a hectare. That is the space you are occupying. So you will be considered as a smallholder farmer, and that what constitutes many Nigerian farmers, in African farmers. Now, those farmers need access to finance. Those farmers need access to best agronomic practices. Those farmers as well need access to market, because whatever you produce, if you don't have good market, then you will not consider that agriculture as a business. There is a lot of demand of bananas across the globe. Let me tell you, I'm assuring you that there is a lot of demand. And I don't know whether you are even providing local demand here in Ethiopia. Is your bananas so excess that locals cannot buy, you need export? Are your bananas so much that you need value addition, where you can get value for what you produce? So I think this question goes back to you. And I suggested to the House earlier on that the President of the African Development Bank is a very honest and hardworking president that want to help Africans, particularly the young emerging agri-entrepreneurs. So if you have any challenge in either the primary production, either the value addition, or access to the market, I think we need to talk. We can suggest to you where you can get finance to fund your production. We can link you to the market where you can get value for what you are producing, right? We will also suggest to many of the smallholder farmers, particularly on fruits and vegetables here in Ethiopia, to get best knowledge on best agronomic practices. So I think after the session, we can be able to create a platform where we share these ideas, where we share the techniques, so that it will have value, particularly to young farmers that are coming on board. I'm happy seeing students here who also show much interest on agri. I'm telling you that if we have maintained this tempo, then in the next few years, we will not talk about food challenge in Africa again. So let's not waste much time. After this session, we can be able to, not only you, but to any other person here that also have interest in the agri sector. Thank you very much. So I think Honorable Shaban can talk on security, but we also agree that there is a correlation between the national or regional security and food security. If you don't have security of people's life and property, then definitely there won't be security for food in the region. So it goes hand in hand. So there has to be a collaboration so that once we attain national or regional security, then certainly we will have food security in our region as well. Thank you very much.
Come to you, Dr. Shem.
Even though I can't remember the questions she asked, but I can remember she talked about participation of women in politics, which I think the question should go to Madam Oli Kemi. And what I will add about what Sadiq have said is just we Africans, we need to tell ourselves the truth. We relied so much on some continent to come to our aid while we were blessed with human and natural resources, abundant human and natural resources. We were blessed with arable lands in most of the African countries. You just made mention on the banana you exported to many countries. Let me give you a typical example about my country, Nigeria. Nigeria, in the northern part of the country, we have arable land like here in Ethiopia, but for more than 20 years, we stopped farming, we just concentrate on politics, as you say, and easy money, you understand, and even the people in the village, they just decided to come to the big towns, you understand, to go to the office to write, which is not realistic. When the former president came on board in 2015, President Muhammadu Buhari said we must farm. He closed all our borders. He stopped importation of rice. 70% of our food imported from India, Eritrea, and other countries farming rice. Even the neighboring countries rely on the cargoes to Nigeria, like Benin, because all the cargoes they will just stop at the Benin Republic of Cotonou and take it by car to Nigeria. But because of that, they were corrupt. And then when Mr. President decided to close border to stop importation of rice, that's made us to go back to the farm. And before he finished his first tenure, we were able to produce the rice we can feed ourselves, and we were one of the major producers of rice in Africa before he finished his tenure in the last 2 months ago. And similarly, when the new president came on board just 3 days ago, he rolled out because of the petroleum subsidy. We were telling our self the truth in Nigeria. We were getting 2 trillion naira to subsidize the petroleum product for the Nigerians. Well, in the other countries neighboring to Nigeria, they are selling like triple of that price in Nigeria, in their countries. At the end of the day, 50% of the petroleum product, they used to export it to the neighboring countries, and Nigeria is paying the subsidy. So at the end of the day, Nigerians, we realize we are subsidizing for the countries, for our neighboring countries. Then the new president, in his inaugural speech, he said there is no more subsidy in oil. He removed the subsidy, and in just 1 month, we saved more than 500 billion naira for that subsidy. Is it 100 billion, Kevin? 100 billion is 100 billion. Meaning, we are just wasting, like, getting to 1 trillion in a year. So because of that subsidy removal, there are some kind of hardship and whatever. Then he rolled out some initiative just 3 days ago, out of which he set aside 3,000 units of 20-seaters using CNG, which can take people, because it's not necessary for you guys. You are earning 100,000 and you have 3 cars in your home, your wife has, it's not even necessary. You see what is happening in eastern part of the world. They can use 1 car, they can go to train, they can do so many things. And in farming, because what we are going to get in salary or in our business earning or anything, we are going to buy food. He said, definitely we must go back to the farm. He set aside 50 billion naira out of that money we set aside for, or we say, for the subsidy, to take care of 100,000 hectares of land. 100,000 hectares can feed 50% of Nigerians. So he set aside money to assist the farmers to achieve that.
and he set aside another 150,000 hectares, and he set aside 50 billion for that one to cultivate hectares for rice and maize. That first 100 hectares is for cassava, wheat and cassava. So in totality, we have 200,000 hectares of land which we are aiming to cultivate in this year. And additional 200 billion to invest in micro, small, medium enterprises to assist small farmers like and the marketers like my elder brother said, and another 50 billion to give conditional grant to 1,300 nano business owners in Nigeria, which another 500,000 hectares to cultivate farmland for food security. So now, if each of the country in our continent can replicate what President Bola Ahmed Tinubu did to even by 50%, so I assure you, in the next 1 year, we don't need a food from any country outside our continent. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Dr. Shaban Sharada. We hope we will ensure food security in the coming few years. Thank you very much. So we're going to have a tea break now. We'll get back to our session in 30 minutes. We're also expecting to have His Excellency Nugusutulani, the Minister of Level and Skill Affairs. He is going to join us after the break. So let's have a tea break then. Let's get back to the board right after that. Enjoy your tea.